Moda Blockhead friends, it's Sarah here again with another fun block in Blockhead 6 for this year. We are working with block number 20 this time, and it is brought to us, it's called Cross Training, and it's brought to us by Jenelle Kent of Pieces to Treasures. So let's get started. All right, if you haven't already done so, be sure to print out your pattern and get it all ready for our fun adventure with our block today. There is a coloring page with the pattern, so you have lots of options to be able to make with your block this time. This block is really a lather, rinse, repeat block, as I like to call it. We make the same unit over and over, and when you put it together, it creates this fabulous block. The recipe or the pattern calls for 4 different colors for each of the interlocking designs. You don't have to do 4 interlocking colors. You can use 1, you can make it scrappy, you can do whatever you want. That's why we give you the coloring page. But I have chosen 4 different colors for this block. With this block, we are also doing our stitch and flip method. Super easy method, one of my very favorite methods to do. There's 2 different ways that I like to do the stitch and flip. One of the ways is that you draw a line on the back side of your fabric and then you stitch directly on that line. The other way is if you use diagonal seam tape, and I forgot to grab that out of my little bag, but here is the diagonal seam tape. If you've never used diagonal seam tape, give it a try. What you do is it's a reusable tape that you put down onto the bed of your machine, and it gives you the lines to use to where you can stitch directly on down the center or a 1/4 inch to the left or to the right of the center. Okay friends, so you're going to gather your 2 3/4 inch squares and your 1 5/8 inch squares. Remember, it's just a line on your ruler that you have to line up. If you need to mark a little mark on your ruler to remind you where that 5/8 inch is, do that, but don't be afraid of the 5/8 inch. It's really just a line on the ruler. Okay, so to start out with, we're going to be putting our 1 5/8 inch square on top of our 2 3/4 inch square in the corner. Now, if you look, I've got mine pinned. Something this small, I normally would not pin that little square on, but I wanted to bring something aware to you, and I've got it with the high contrasting fabric so you can see it a little bit better. You want to make sure when you're doing the stitch and flip that you line up the squares perfectly, or as near perfect as you can. The way I have it now, not so great. You can see that the smaller square is not lined up with the right angles lined up with each other on there. So you want to make sure that everything is lined up perfectly on that corner, just like that. Now again, if this is one of your first few times, if you're a beginner and you feel like you need to pin away. So you're going to pin it, and I pin it perpendicular to where my sewn line is, so that when I come to where the pin is on the sewing machine, I can easily pull that pin out and not stitch over the pin. Now, some people say you can stitch over your pins. Some people say you can't. It's just up to you and what you prefer. I will tell you, I am a pin stitcher. But usually though, I am not really a pinner. So I would personally, because this is a smaller unit, I would not pin this. So I lay my first square down on one corner, and I will take that to the machine and sew it. The next step is to go on the opposite corner and to save time, so you're not constantly sewing, pressing, you can sew 2 of these at a time. So I sew 1 on one corner and 1 on the other corner, and so you can see that I've got my lines and they're both attached like that. Okay, so then I take it to the sewing machine and I press. So I press them out so it's nice and flat. Now, there's 2 schools of thought on pressing for these too, because a lot of people say you trim it and then you press it. I am of the philosophy, and it gives me a better product when I press it and then I trim it. because when you press it with the 2 layers underneath, it gives you a sturdier base so that it won't get as distorted. If you have it to where you have it trimmed first, and I'll show you here. I'll show you that I'm going to trim that off. And then if I would take that to the iron and press it, you have more tendency, because this can be biased, it can have more stretchability. When there are the 2 layers underneath and you press it, it doesn't give you that stretchability. Okay, so as you are going to be trimming, once you've pressed, you want to, when you trim, you can trim it in 2 different ways. And you want to make sure that when you are trimming, you're not trimming your top layer, okay? This is considered the top layer. The single layer of the contrasting color is going to be your top layer. And you've got 2 layers underneath. You've got one of that same color and then one of your background. So you want to make sure that when you do that, you hold back your top layer and you are going to just trim it away. Now, I am using scissors to do that. You can take it and use your rotary cutter, and you can, and to get that perfect 1/4 inch seam behind there if you want to. I'm going to tell you, it's in the seam allowance. Nobody's going to see it once your quilt is done, so it doesn't have to be the perfect 1/4 inch. And if you notice on that was a little crooked. It doesn't have to be 100% straight. You just want to make sure that you leave a seam allowance there and that you haven't cut into that top layer. But you can also take your rotary cutter and line them up on your rotary mat, and you can also do the same thing with your rotary cutter. Now, a lot of people are going to go, oh my gosh, you didn't use a ruler, and you could slice over and cut into your top layer. You sure can. And ask me how I know, because I've done that. But I have found that once you get into the groove, if you've chain pieced and you've done all of the things, then you just get into a groove and the mistakes are very, very minimal and the time saving is astronomical, okay? Once you get your 2 sewn on and you press it out like that, then you're going to sew that 3rd one on. And we're going to end up with like a little, I don't know what that little shape is. It's just a fun little geometric little rectangle with 3 little corners on it. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to lay it down, stitch on it, and flip it up. So let's get all of our things done. This block makes it super easy that you can do a chain piecing with this, which is what I did when I made my sample block. You just sit and you chain one side, chain the other side. You go to your iron, you press, flip, and trim, then you're ready to go. So let's go finish all the rest of my blocks and we'll meet you back here. All right, I am back. I have sewn all of my units, but as I was sewing and finishing up and doing the pressing of my blocks, I wanted to give you a hint, which is also on the pattern, about how to press these blocks. You know, we all like our blocks to nest together really nicely. And the hint that we give on this block and the tip we give on this and the pressing directions we give is really super great so that we can be able to get the block to nest and you end up with a flatter block at the end when you sew all of it together. So when you are pressing this, you're going to have 4 of these little units, and I don't have the little tip on because I really wanted to show you what that was. You're going to end up with 4 units that make up one of the little sub blocks within this block. You're going to press 2 of these sub units in one direction and 2 in another. Super easy to do. You just have to, when I went and did my pressing, I pressed them. I had one stack that went one way and one stack that went the other, so you don't have a little brain memory action happening. So then you just, again, you're in a groove. So what you're going to do is on 2 of the blocks, you're going to press it so that the triangle goes out and you've got the fabric underneath that triangle on the corner. Okay, so I've got 2 that are like that, and then I've got 2 that the triangles are going the exact opposite direction, that they are going in. So if you look at the back of the 2, I've got 1 that the triangles go in and 2 that the triangles go out. so that then when you trim them, then they will all nest. So you want to make sure that when you do that first pressing on these blocks, that they you've got them going in the opposite directions. And then when you do add that third triangle on, press it the same way and it will all nest then when you do that. Okay, so now I've got 4 units here that are all pressed and with their little tips on. So you want to make sure it's just a 4 patch that you're sewing these little blocks together. So I did actually lay it out because sometimes, you know, we have that little brain issue.
You're trying not to say brain fart, aren't you?
Yeah. Okay, people, I'm just going to say it. It's a brain fart. We all have these brain farts every once in a while. And so you want to make sure that you don't have that brain fart. So you're going to lay it out. And then I always will do just a double check once I get them laid out. And I make sure that they're lined up and that they will actually nest with each other. Now, this one, guess what? It's not nesting. Did I not press them the right way? I've got those 2 pressed the same way. Well, look at there. I didn't press them going the right way. So look at there. What am I going to do? Well, there I can go back and I can repress them, or I can do what I like to do is I'm going to do a simple little, oh, I lost my pen. I had my pen here. I'm just going to flip the end of that seam over to where it will nest within that other seam. And then I would pin it there, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. Okay? And pin that, and then I'm going to stitch it together like I normally would stitch this block together. So what you're going to do is you're going to sew those 2 pieces together, those 2 pieces together. I would press one going left and one going right, and then you'll be able to nest those seams together when you do that. But I'm going to go to the sewing machine, I'm going to sew this together really quick, and then I'm going to show you how you're going to go, but that seam is twisted in there. What do? I'm going to show you my little trick on how I can get that to nest. Okay, friends, so we're back. I've got this to where I've got my seam sewn, and you can see that that's one end of this is going one way and one is going the other way. I want this seam to lay against, I want it to lay flat over here. So what I'm going to do is, you have to be very, very careful on this, I will tell you. You want to take just, and I would probably use smaller scissors than this. Oh, look at this. I have another little pair right here. You're going to take, and you want some really sharp pointed scissors. I'm going to take, and I'm going to cut that right along that seam, but I'm not going to snip it down into that seam allowance. You do not want to cut into that seam allowance. And so now that seam can lay flat there, so that then when you press it, this block is going to lay nice and super flat for you. When you press this seam over, it's going to lay and make this lay like that, and everything is good, and you've got that little thing. So if you ever get into a situation where you want your seams to nest and it won't quite nest the way that you want it to, or you've had to press a certain way, that's a good little tip that you can kind of flip it and then snip it, and then you can move on and have everything lay nice and flat on the back of your block. Okay, so the magic of TV, and we have our block here together. And let me just tell you, it's just a 4 patch. Once you get your 4 units made, your 4 subunits made, then it goes together just like a 4 patch. So you lay it out whatever color direction you want to go, and you'll sew your top row together, your bottom row together, press the seams in opposing directions, and then you'll sew your center seam. When I did press one to the left and one to the right, and then my final seam, I did press it open all of the way through there. Now this block, each of the subunits finish, well, the unfinished size is 5 inches, and then once you sew all of this together, your unfinished block size is 9.5, finished block size is 9. That's all I've got for today. Super fun, quick little chain piecing little block that you can do here towards the end of our Moda Blockhead 6. Be sure to post out on our Moda Blockheads Facebook page your blocks. We love to see your creations. And again, thank you to Jenelle for a super fun block, and we'll see you back here next week, and happy sewing.